The show begins with Jongmu Chi, a first-year student strolling through her university campus with enthusiasm for the new chapter of her life. Unbeknownst to others, her main motive for choosing this particular university was her desire to be close to her high school crush, Guo Haoyu. However, her excitement is shortly lived after she discovers that Guo's name is absent from the university's enrollment list, much to her dismay. To loosen up, Jong goes to the basketball court and watches the boys play. All of a sudden, she is hit on the head by a basketball, and to her shock, the culprit is none other than Guo. It's revealed that he's studying at the same university after all, but for some reason, he has changed his name to Guo Jinan. The following day, Jong goes to the basketball court hoping to bump into Guo again, but unfortunately, he doesn't show up. Disappointed, she goes to the library and daydreams about him. Lo and behold, Guo arrives there and walks up to her. Her heart starts beating faster as he talks to her and almost skips a beat when he asks her out to dinner that night. Jong assumes that it's a date and goes to the restaurant looking her best. However, she is disappointed when she finds out that Guo has invited two of his friends to dinner as well. They sit for dinner and delicious dishes arrive on the table, but Jong refrains from eating as she is too shy to do so in front of her crush and his friends. However, she eventually caves to the temptation. Once Guo gets up and heads to the bathroom, she quickly steals a skewer from the plate and goes outside to eat it, pretending to make a phone call. However, Guo catches her munching on the skewer and can't help but laugh. Afterwards, the two enter a grocery store where Guo buys a lot of sweets and candy for himself. But later, when he drops her off at home, he gives Jong the entire bag of treats. She is flattered by this gesture and tries to ask for his socials, but he leaves before she has the chance to. So the next day, Jong attends Guo's class to ask him for his contact information, but before she could do so, the professor arrives, and she is instead stuck inside the classroom. To make matters worse, the teacher asks her a question, but she is unable to answer. Fortunately, Guo stands up and answers the question for her. After the class, he approaches Jong and asks if she is also studying the same subject. Embarrassed to admit the truth, Jong lies that she is actually interested in the course that he is studying. She then musters the courage to finally ask him for his social media. To her joy, Guo instead gives her his phone number. The same night in her dormitory, Jong begins to stalk Guo via his social media and finds out about his various interests. She also sees his online status and finds out that he is at the library. She immediately buys a cup of coffee for him and waits outside the library. Once he arrives, she pretends to bump coincidentally into him, stating that she was just passing by and offers him the coffee. However, he politely declines the drink, stating that he won't be able to sleep at night after having coffee. This makes Jong feel awkward and she prepares to leave, but Guo stops her and offers to walk her back to her room, much to her delight. As they walk back, Jong lies that she is also interested in astronomy like him. This piques Guo's interest and he smiles before taking her to a rooftop to stargaze. There, Jong starts daydreaming about making out with him. Guo then slowly reaches his hand towards her face, prompting her to close her eyes as she assumes that he's going to kiss her. However, he gives Jong a light slap to kill the mosquito sitting on her face. The latter pretends to act normal again, and the two spend time watching and pointing to different stars. Shortly after, one of Guo's friends interrupts them, asking something about their group project. This reminds Guo that their project is in need of a photographer, so he asks Jong to take pictures for them. It's revealed that she is studying to be a journalist, so Guo assumes that she has classes in photography. In reality, Jong doesn't have any previous experience with photography, but she accepts the offer just so she can stay close to him. Later that night, Jong asks her roommate Liu Yuan for advice on how to win over a guy. It's revealed that the latter is the most popular girl in school and a love expert. Over the course of the next few days, Jong, Guo, and his friends work on the project and give a successful presentation. Later, Guo and his friends celebrate the completion of the project with Jong. At the party, she tries to get drunk, hoping Guo will take her home. As the hours pass, he begins to get concerned about Jong and stops her from drinking. This frustrates his friends and they start to complain about how he is ruining the fun. Guo then proposes that all of them chug a beer straight from the bottle. But once the guys do it, Guo quickly grabs Jong and they flee the scene. He walks her back to her dorm, but upon arriving, she finds that the doors are locked. This makes Jong happy as she gets to spend more time with Guo. They share a cute moment where they both smile at each other lovingly. Unfortunately, they are interrupted by the dorm lady who opens the door, prompting Guo to leave. Shortly after, Jong gets wind that her roommate Liu might have a crush on Guo. As she follows Liu around campus, she's surprised to stumble upon her with Guo, looking incredibly close. Fueled by envy, she shadows them for the rest of the day, observing their every interaction. While having lunch at the cafeteria, Jong fails to notice that one of Guo's friends, Yu, has caught her in the act of stalking. But in a shocking turn of events, he too joins in on the stalking. This is because he has a crush on Liu. Shortly after, they are caught red-handed, and so Yu immediately runs away. As for Jong, Guo confronts her and innocently punishes her by naming an animal after her. In the next scene, as they return to their rooms, Jong asks him if he has a date for the school prom. To her surprise, Guo says no and asks her to go. Excited, Jong accepts without hesitation. On the day of the prom, Jong gets ready and puts on her dress as well as makeup. However, just as she is about to leave, her roommate reminds her that she needs to return all her books she borrowed from the library by 6 o'clock, and if she fails to do so, her school credit will go down. Hearing this, Jong hurries to the library with the books, but there she learns that one of the books is missing. She then recalls leaving the book on the rooftop of their university building when she was trying to impress Guo. Jong runs there and luckily finds the book. However, the building security guard unknowingly locks the door, and as a result, Jong gets stuck on the roof. Meanwhile, the school prom commences, and Guo is sad to see that Jong is absent. But when he checks his phone, he learns that she's actually in trouble, so he immediately rushes to help her. When he reaches the rooftop, he finds a very sad Jong, upset that she not only failed to attend the prom, but also that her school credit has gone down. To cheer her up, he plays a song on her phone and invites her to dance on the rooftop. Guo then compliments Jong and puts a smile on her face. But soon, he adds that he only likes her as a friend, much to her dismay. The next day, the two attend the photography class and he sits beside her. Jong, however, is still upset about being friend-zoned. Meanwhile, the class teacher assigns everyone a group project and Guo asks her to be his partner. Despite being sad, she immediately agrees because she still wants to impress him. After a while, the project begins and they go on a day trip where Jong brings a duffel bag packed full of drinks and food, and also her camera. After the filming for the project is complete, the two sit in a field and have a picnic. However, moments later, their picnic is unfortunately spoiled when it starts to rain. They quickly seek shelter near a greenhouse, and Guo gives her his jacket. He also romantically wipes her face with a napkin. Jong blushes, and they have a romantic and intimate moment. That is, until the rain suddenly stops, much to Jong's disappointment. Later that night, Guo leaves the video editing part to Jong, thinking that she is good at it. She accepts without hesitation, but soon remembers that her editing classes do not start until next semester. So she turns to a senior for help. Fortunately, he agrees to help, but on the condition that Jong must star in a romantic piece and must find a handsome boy to co-star with her. Naturally, she asks Guo to be her partner, and he easily agrees. The following day, the two head to the set of the film, and the shooting begins. They have a lot of fun and joke around with each other. However, all the fun comes crashing down when Liu arrives and demands to replace Jong as Guo's on-screen lover. The film's director jumps at the opportunity to have the university's most popular girl in his film, so he replaces Jong on the spot. Our protagonist is upset, but she can't do anything about it because the film's director senior is helping her edit her project. However, Guo is upset with the decision and he quits the film. When the senior catches wind of this, he realizes his mistake and immediately takes Jong back on board. Later during lunch, Jong is approached by Yu, who tells her he plans to go on a picnic with Guo. He invites Jong and Liu to join them as well, saying the more the merrier. This is music to Jong's ear, and she happily accepts the invitation. The scene then cuts to the day of the picnic, and the four of them sit in a park while having some snacks. Later, Yu comes up with a plan to make Liu jealous by cozying up with Jong. So, he and Jong go fly a kite, but it is clear that the latter has no interest in Yu. Instead, it is Guo and Jong who become jealous, as they are each with other people. Guo also finds out that Yu and Jong were with each other at lunch the other day, further fueling his jealousy. Their double date is effectively ruined, but before heading home, Yu proposes that they play a game of Never Have I Ever. As they play the game, on Guo's turn, he confesses that there is someone he likes among them, raising both Liu and Jong's curiosity. The same night, Jong has trouble sleeping as she can't seem to figure out who Guo likes. The next day at school, she boldly asks him about it, but he gives her the cold shoulder. It turns out that he's still upset about yesterday and refuses to talk to Jong. However, she doesn't give up and accompanies Guo to the library with the hopes of convincing him to go have dinner with her. But after a harsh response, a heartbroken Jong runs out into the rain, thinking that he has feelings for Liu instead. Suddenly, an umbrella appears above her, and it's revealed to be Guo. He gives her his jacket and hugs her before inviting her to dinner with him. Hearing this, an excited Jong heads back to her dorm room to change. But her happiness quickly fades away when Liu approaches her and reveals that she's going to confess her feelings to Guo tomorrow. The following day, a scared Jong decides to cling on to Guo to keep Liu from confessing her feelings. So throughout the day, she drags him across town, constantly keeping an eye out for Liu. The two spend quality time with each other and return to the university campus very late. But upon returning, they are confronted by Liu. She takes Jong aside and says that she will continue pursuing Guo. This makes our protagonist feel awkward, and she decides to leave. However, she trips and falls on the floor, breaking her leg. Seeing this, Guo becomes worried and rushes her to the nearest hospital. And after she is discharged, they decide to spend the night at a hotel, as it's way past the campus curfew time. Meanwhile, Jong again contemplates all the things that could be happening between the two. She sleeps with Guo, and in the morning, he shockingly kisses her. However, it all turns out to be a dream. In reality, Guo had actually dropped her off inside the hotel room before heading home. The following day, Guo takes extra care of Zhang, even to the point of carrying her up the stairs and preparing food for her. He also helps her complete her classwork. Zhang is flattered by his actions, and at night she wonders whether Guo likes her, and if he does, why hasn't he confessed yet? The next morning, Guo takes her shopping for clothes. They also go out for lunch, and it is there that Zhang meets one of her friends from school. The friend is shocked to see Guo and Zhang together and assumes that they are dating. The latter corrects her by stating that they are just friends, but unfortunately this upsets Guo and he leaves the restaurant, refusing to talk to Zhang. When she continues to run after him, he tells her to leave him alone, stating that they are just friends. This comment upsets her because he is the one who's been sending mixed signals this entire time. In a fit of rage, Zhang calls Guo out for taking pride in making her like him and playing with her all this time, without confessing his true feelings. Before walking off, Zhang reveals that she liked him since high school and says that he is now not worthy of her love. This brings Guo to tears, and they go their separate ways. From then on, Zhang starts to ignore Guo, fearing that he will break her heart again. When Liu learns about their fight, she tries to comfort her. The next morning, Liu confronts Guo and lectures him on how he should be brave to confess his feelings to the person he likes. She informs him that Zhang is madly in love with him, but is currently suffering because of his actions. So, feeling bad, he texts Zhang to wait for him at the library while he goes and buys lunch for her. However, upon meeting her in the stairs, she begs Guo to stop messing around with her, as lunch is not what she needs. In response, he says they shouldn't be friends, but before he can complete his sentence, a heartbroken Zhang leaves. Meanwhile, Yu constantly pesters Liu with things that she likes in an attempt to win her over. However, she couldn't care less. One day, Yu finally proposes to her, but he is brutally rejected. She tells him that she needs a partner in life and doesn't need a person who constantly pesters her. It's also revealed that she's going to study abroad, making Yu hopeless and upset. On the day of Zhang's birthday, Guo calls her to the rooftop of the university, where she finds a surprise event planned for her. He emerges out of the shadows with a cake and wishes her a happy birthday. Guo finally confesses his feelings to Zhang, much to her astonishment. He then reveals that he has also had a crush on Zhang since high school, but he couldn't bring himself to talk to her, fearing what his friends and teachers might say. He asks her to be his girlfriend, and Zhang tearfully accepts his proposal. The two then share an emotional kiss and officially start dating. The series fast forwards a month later, where Guo and Zhang send off Liu as she is going to study abroad for a year. However, just as the bus is about to leave, Yu comes running towards it and boards the bus, revealing that he too is going abroad. He tells Liu that he had spent a month holed up in his room, preparing for the test to be eligible to go overseas, so that he could join her. Upon hearing this, Liu blushes for the first time, and they bid a farewell to Guo and Zhang.